All right. For my first lesson plan, I chose to do a lesson for social studies over financial responsibility, which talks a little bit about personal economics. The majority of my students are Spanish speakers, and I also speak Spanish. So I wanted to be able to integrate student discussion in their first language and also have them be in mixed proficiency pairs so they can use their first language to discuss. I've also decided to use a website called Mentimeter. So there's a lot of interactive things that we can do, like word clouds, and this way there's some more anonymous options to share understanding, and also it's a little more involved than just lecturing at the front and asking for students to speak. Um, in order to engage higher level thinking and critical thinking, I integrated two benchmarks for some standards for social studies for Kansas. They are more broad standards, and then you get to, as a teacher, use your district standards and your professional judgment on the content. But I did start with recognize and evaluate and move on to analyzing and drawing conclusions. So the recognize and evaluate, there are several activities where students will fill out a reality check with Jumpstart to see if their chosen career matches with their lifestyle income wise. And then we move on to the analyzing um, and drawing conclusions about students thinking about, okay, well, maybe what sort of job do I really need to support the lifestyle I want to have? And what sort of education do I need? Um, we're also, students were interested after a lesson on personal finances. They want to know how taxes worked. So, talking about the benchmark for understanding how does the individual fit into their community and society and civic engagement. So we're kind of exploring those themes when discussing taxes and finances. Um, through the Mentimeter, we're doing a lot of review, preview, and vocab. Um, so allowing students to connect what we're going to talk about, but what we've talked about in previous lessons, and also try to get a good grip on the upper, higher tier vocabulary. Many of my students during assessments, their BICS or conversational English was pretty grade level, but this CALP and upper level more content specific vocabulary was lacking. So more informal assessments on just checking verbal understanding, having students maybe use an online translator or look up pictures, refer to items on their screens to show understanding, um, and then a quick Kahoot like assessment at the end. Some of these are anonymous, some of these the students do need to put their names, but I'm also encouraging students to take paper Cornell notes for their teacher, as well as take screenshots and write down the names of the websites we're using in case they want to go back later. Also using a lot of QR codes to make it a little bit more accessible for students that maybe can't type in the whole URL. So tried to add a lot of technology and keep students on their feet, work through the activities with them on my screen, and ask guiding questions throughout to keep them on track. And really moving from the benchmark, from recognizing and evaluating to analyzing and drawing conclusions, students are going to look at how do my decisions now impact my future, and how does my financial future kind of determine my ability to engage in my communities and societies. So that was a little bit of my thought process working through this lesson plan. Please let me know if you have any questions.